Okay, Shalom, Shalom, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholayimla, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Chaha Kodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us His beautiful truth, and just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, to the best of their ability. This is Hanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson, and praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And just ask ChatGPT a quick question. If black people were to stop celebrating all American holidays, would it affect the economy? And it says yes, it definitely would affect the U.S. economy if black Americans collectively stopped celebrating all major American holidays. The impact would be significant because of the size, buying power, and cultural influence of black community. So it's going to go into the breakdown, but let's just explain a few things first. Of course, there's no such thing as black people, but I had to put it in there because they don't identify us as to who we really are, which are the true children of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, or Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew tongue, and he had 12 sons, and all of us come from one of those 12 sons. We're very vast people. And I just put in black, so-called black people. Now, if I were to just put in all Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American, Indians, Haitians, Jamaicans, Cubans, the list goes on with those particular places where Esau conquered and gave us these names, gave us these flags, got us all fighting against each other and putting one against another. And we don't know exactly who we are. We don't know that we're even fighting family members, because this is what he's done to separate. He understands divide and conquer. But if you put us together collectively, and not to mention the speckled bird, because our people look like other nations, we are innumerable. We are, they say China, they try and place China, India, and these different countries in the billions, like they're just these populations that's out of control. They're the most people on the planet, but in reality, it's really the Israelites. The Israelites are innumerable. Those people that's over in Israel saying that they're 2% of the population and they're just being picked on. No, the Lord didn't say that the Israelites will be 2% of the population. The Lord said that we will be like the sand of the sea, the stars in the sky. We can't be counted. So those people over there are imposters and they're some fucking liars. But anyway, back to what ChatGPT was saying. And again, we're not black. We're just different shades of brown people. And black is a social construct. And also, there's no such thing as white people. They're the ones that came up with this social construct of white and black. And, pretty much they modernized colors being ethnicities when that's not the case. The Lord created 18 nations of people, and those 18 nations of people have biblical nationalities or biblical ethnicities. There's no such thing as Germans, Russians, Belgium, you know what I'm saying? Polish, white people, Europeans, Chinese, Japanese. There's no such thing as those things in the Bible, but that's another lesson, But just wanted to explain the part about the black. We're not black. We're Hebrew Israelites. And I was watching a Charleston White little clip, a little short. I think it was yesterday, and he was talking about how, and we've been saying it all along. I'm pretty certain this guy, he watches a lot of Hebrew Israelite videos, and he's, a lot of these podcasters do, and they're not giving the credit to the Hebrew Israelites, with the talking points that they had. But he was basically talking about how America would just plummet if it wasn't for the so-called black man. Pretty much overall, he was talking about it from a legal standpoint, as far as like the money that Esau make when we go to jail, because you got to think about when they keep us in trouble, so to speak. Jake fall for the trap because they do set the trap. They are the accuser of the brethren. But, just a simple factor of their court system. When Jake go to jail, 2 attorneys on both sides has to be paid. The judge got to be paid. The court reporter got to be paid. The sheriff got to be paid. The bailiff got to be paid. You know what I'm saying? The transporter got to be paid. The prisons, of course, get paid. The food vendor that supports the prisons gets paid. You know, anything from shit changing tires on the vehicles that move prisoners. Gas that goes into the vehicles that move prisoners. It's a whole business of just Jake. That's just one thing of our people. Just, you know, them using our people, you know, to finance everything that they've had. You know, everything that they've been doing. Plus the fact that we built up their shit for free to begin with. But see, Esau, he's slick. He's cunning with his words. And he tries to make it seem as if, you know, oh, those are just bad people. We have to do something about them. But this man, he sets up shit systematically. So when it comes to these holidays, it's the same thing. They understand that Jake is, you know, is an influencer. Jake is the salt of the earth. If they want to sell something for Christmas, they put videos and commercials of Jake up. They want to sell razors, they put Jake in a damn razor commercial. They want to sell pizza, they got Jake in a pizza commercial. They want to sell a Baconator, they got Jake in a goddamn hamburger commercial. They want to sell, you know, and not to mention, you know, that our women, you know, the ass shaking, the music, the whole thing. But I'm just pinpointing on just the holidays. If Jake would just these couple of holidays, because Jake spent a lot of money on these holidays, man. You know, the major ones, you know what I'm saying? You know, of course, Jake fussing about Thanksgiving. Jake fussing about Christmas with the snap shit. But, you know, Jake celebrate January 1st. You know, New Year's. Jake celebrate, spend more money on Valentine's. Jake spend more money on birthdays than any other race of people. 4th of July, of course. Easter, damn show. Because Jake gonna buy new outfits. Jake gonna get new clothes, shoes, hair dones, haircuts. They're gonna be traveling. They're gonna gas up the car. They're gonna go rent cars. They're gonna go and rent hotels. They're gonna go whatever. Drinks, blunts, weed, you name it. So these people have made a fortune off of Jake and going to celebrate these holidays, man. So let's see what ChatGPT has to say. It says, yes, it definitely would affect the U.S. economy if Black Americans collectively stop celebrating all major American holidays. The impact would be significant because of the size, buying power, and cultural influence of Black community. Here's a breakdown of how and why. Okay, so number one is spending power. As of 2024, Black Americans have over 1.8 trillion. God damn, I didn't know it was that much in annual buying power, according to Nielsen and the Selig Center for Economic Growth. A large portion of holiday-related spending, gifts, food, travel, decorations, events, etc., comes from this market segment. If that spending suddenly stopped for holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July, I just mentioned all that. I ain't even read all the way through this, y'all, so salak. It's just, hey, that's the spirit. Retailers and service industries will feel a major revenue drop. But Jake don't get it. Jake don't understand. You know, because, matter of fact, the scripture talks about how the customs of the people are vain. You're not supposed to be celebrating these holidays anyway. And it's mainly the nigga woman. You know what I'm saying? But men, they get in on it because, you know, of course, they have to impress the nigga woman. But, you know, they was just talking about how much money that's going to be missed if these SNAP benefits don't go through. Now, I'm not even sure. I ain't even really get into the news today. I know it's the first and all. And you know, this is just a pre-camp video. But they was even talking about that. I think they said it's 286,000. I could have the numbers wrong. But, you know, vendors, as far as like, I'm not even sure if it was just the area that I'm in. It could have been. I think it could have just been fucking Michigan. But the vendors that actually accept EBT, SNAP benefits, they're going to lose big time. A lot of these companies been talking about, you know, their business is going to go under if they don't, you know, because they, I think they was talking about how I think it's 98 billion. They was talking about 98 billion a year as far as like these vendors, the money that they make when this money goes back into the economy, so to speak. These vendors, like, you know, your regular little bodega, your little store, it could be a piece of, you know, everybody accept that shit now. I remember back when you couldn't even go to a restaurant and get to spend no EBT. And then I started seeing signs and shit up on the outside of the businesses like, we accept EBT. Like, damn, a motherfucker can walk right into a, you know, a Coney Island or a damn a Red Lot. Well, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, damn, they can go in there and sit down and swipe a damn EBT card and fucking eat lobster tails and shit. You know what? So it's a big industry. And a large part of that industry is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but it's mainly the so-called whites. But that's the, I'm just adding that in with this holiday shit, because I was out last night for a hot sec, and I didn't see not one motherfucker trick or treating, not one. I ain't gonna say I seen maybe 2 or 3. I didn't see one person. I didn't see one family out tapping on doors. That shit, no. That has never been big in our neighborhood anyway, like that, Used to be back in the days, but, over time, it just kind of like dwindled. People just had their damn lights off. Generally, if your porch light is off, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of a sign that nobody don't come tapping on my damn door. But I didn't see not one person out, man. Anyway, let's get this scripture. Jeremiah chapter 10, and it's entitled A Satire on Idolatry. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. So when you see, we say Yahweh, it says Lord in all caps. Lord, that's going into the true name of the Father, which is Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one. And the true name of his son is Yahweh Shai, which means that he's the savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. And if he was on earth today, he would be considered a Negro, right along with these people that I'm doing this lesson on right now that spend all this money on these fucking holidays, right? So it says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So the customs, the ways of the heathen is a lot of their holidays, the way that they get down, their spirituality, their thoughts, their just the shit that they're into, their lifestyle, and it's idolatrous. It has nothing to do with the scriptures. There's no life to it at all. It's just all death. And so when Jake get involved with these things, they're actually in a spiritual adulterous, idolatrous relationship with these particular gods of the other nations. And that's the reason why Jake be doing so damn bad, man. Right? Verse 3, it says, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth the tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. But our people have been fooled into, this is talking about Christmas, actually, that particular holiday. But it's going off into the customs of the people. All the customs of Esau is vain. All his holidays are vain. The birthdays are vain. Right? But one of the main holidays that our people are into is white Jesus. And a lot of our people, they feel like if they don't get involved, that, somehow their salvation is tainted, or, that somehow they're feeling guilty, or that they've sinned if they're not into the idolatrous holidays of Esau, especially when it comes to Christmas and Easter, which are the most, I gotta say, those are the most demonic of Esau's holidays. We say Halloween because, they get into the ghouls and goblins and shit like that. But, it's that idol worship, man. That's the worst. Right. So let's go back into what ChatGPT says. They have number 2 on the list, retail and consumer good impact. Holidays are when many businesses make the most of their yearly profit, especially big box stores, online retailers, and food beverage companies. For example, if millions of black families stop buying gifts during Christmas or stop purchasing food for Thanksgiving, the loss could easily reach tens of billions of dollars. Now, I've been hearing about a so-called blackout. And some of these little blackouts that, they've been having have been, been successful. Like they had the DEI one for Target. Jake stopped going to Target for a little while, you know what I'm saying? And it hit him in the pockets, right? Because Jake do go spend a lot more money. See, these Edomites, they celebrate these holidays. They just don't go as stupid as you niggas. Because, see, Jake just go overboard with everything, you know? Okay, but next on the list, it says black consumers are also major trendsetters, see? In fashion, beauty, and entertainment, which heavily influences national sales patterns. I said that. Because Jake is the salt of the earth. Niggas gonna go and buy some Nikes, man. Some Jordans or some, you know, whatever Jake wearing. Timberlands, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Look, when you check out these holiday commercials and see, you're gonna see. Check out these holiday commercials. Now they broadcast you know, Esau just, he's a money maker. He researches every damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So he knows that Esau likes a certain type of sport. He's gonna have, you know, certain types of you know, commercials for him. He knows you know, Chinese, Indian, you know, they're just gonna push it towards whatever market. But Jake, so-called blacks, they can reach all the markets, as opposed to so-called Chinese people reaching a black market, so to speak, or, you know, so-called white people reach, you know what I'm saying? Like Jake, because hip-hop is influencing every damn thing. You can have a whole totally goddamn Brooks Brothers suit commercial, motherfucker trying to offer you a 3-piece suit with a tie, and that should have a hip-hop beat in the backdrop. Probably with a Jake, you know what I'm saying, modeling the clothes, more than likely. You know? So they understand that Jake had that gift. Jake got that salt, but they don't want to give Jake no credit when it comes to anything else. They don't want to give Jake, they don't even give us credit for this. You know? They ain't gonna give you no credit. It's just that they understand that Jake is the one that moves the earth. They understand that. Why you think of how you think America became so prosperous? Why do you think America is the best military might on the planet? Or why do you think America is you know, can say that they're the you know, the best on the planet, so to speak? It's because they have the Israelites in their possession. They have the Lord's live mechanism, or his prize spirit, basically, because the Lord gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. We have a certain spirit on us that the Lord gave us that he didn't give other nations. He gave us the spirit of production, so to speak. Anyway, so third on the list they have food and travel and hospitality. Many black Americans spend heavily on family gatherings, travel, and restaurant dinings during holidays. If that stopped, airlines, hotels, restaurants, and grocery chains will all feel the cutback. See? Number 4 on the list, cultural influence. Black culture has a major effect on how holidays are celebrated nationwide. See? Music, fashion, cuisine, and entertainment trends often originate in or are popularized by black Americans. If the community disengaged, it could reshape how holidays look and feel across the U.S., even beyond the economic impact. Crazy, bro. Example, estimate. If just 20% of the 1.8 trillion buying power normally went towards holiday-related spending, that's roughly 360 billion annually. Even cutting that in half would cause a ripple effect through the entire economy. So they keep you niggas doofified, stupid as hell, and you run out here and you spend all your money on it. And again, mind you, they're not even calculating in the fact that Jake go to jail for these holidays. You know, Jake be out here acting a goddamn fool on these holidays. You know, Jake be robbing and stealing and killing and shit to try and make it happen for their family for these holidays. There's a lot that goes into it. That thing, boy, it's a huge tailspin of bullshit, man, for Jake, man. But see, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Let me get that. See, the Lord, he's working with the men of the Lord, man, to show us things that we never would have thought of before, man. You never would have thought of no shit like this before, man. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Because we understand too as well that Esau, he has to keep us in sin so he can keep this boat afloat. That's the reason why he's gonna clip the internet. He doesn't want Jake to wake up and find out that they're Hebrew Israelites. Like, even right now, it may not be much, or it could, could be a nice little ripple. But just think about the Hebrew Israelites that's into this truth, that actually, no matter what camp they're in, let's just say, they may not keep the Sabbath day according to, the new moon and all this other stuff, just that they're keeping the Sabbath day, right? Let's just say that one day that Jake is just chilling, he's not going out to buy or sell. He's not spending gas money. He's just at the crib chilling. He done already prepared his food. That's a ripple effect. That's money that's not being spent in Esau Edom's economy. So just think, if all the Israelites were to wake up, they stop eating pork. Pork industry will fall under in a day. Jake stopped smoking cigarettes. That shit would end. Jake stopped smoking blunts. That shit would end. Jake stopped going out here drinking all this bullshit. That shit would end. You know what I'm saying? If the women were to not be out here committing adultery on their man, and men stop committing adultery, you know what I'm saying, with another man's wife, that would cut down on the court system. The funeral homes would get cut into. You see what I'm saying? The list goes on and on. Like I said, and you got the trickle-down effect of that, gas being spent on moving, even a damn hearse. A hearse driving a funeral casket to a funeral. The casket business will be down. The jails will be empty. So just think about the ripple effect of See, they understand that. And that goes into the book of Judith, with the story of when they was asking about the Israelites, who are these people that won't come down to worship us, roughly paraphrasing the story. You know what I'm saying? And the guy, he was an Ammonite. He was telling this general, hey, look, man, if they haven't sinned, then we're going to get toasted, man. We're not going to be able to do, because their God is going to stand up and fight for them. So Esau, he understands to keep us in sin. That's the way that his system stays afloat. That's the reason why he sneaks pork and stuff like that into, because see, we sin unknowingly in Esau's kingdom. Even us men of the Lord, we try our hardest. We try to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, to the best of our ability, but we understand that we're in these tainted bodies, and Esau understands that. You know what I'm saying? But he's the accuser of the brethren. He's accusing us day and night. While he's setting up the trap, he sets the trap. Then he points the finger, like, look at him. So they understand keeping us in sin, and how keeping us in sin, it keeps their money generated. It keeps their system afloat. But they don't understand that the Lord is coming to stop all this bullshit. He's coming to write those laws, statutes, and commandments on our minds and our hearts. These people will no longer be over us. As a matter of fact, they're going to bring all that they have to us. Everything that they ever gotten off of us. All that shit, all this gold they piling up, all this silver, all these different jewels, all these different emeralds and sapphires, and all these different minerals and resources, all this shit that they done piled up. They've done nothing but stack that shit up for the true Israelites, man. We're going to get all that shit, man, when the Lord comes. Our kingdom is going to be built up beautifully with those resources. And they're going to continually bring us resources, man. And those that don't serve us, according to the scriptures, hey, we're gonna command the rain. We're gonna command the weather, man, on their asses, man, to not even, rain on their fucking land so they'll have food. We're gonna be in control, man. So all this stuff that Esau has done, and it's gonna be shown. See, right now we get an inkling of it. We get a little bit of glance into what this man has really done, when we come into this truth. But we don't know to the real extent of the shit that he's really doing, because this man is vicious as fuck, man. You're dealing with a very vicious race of people, right? With 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, man. So we're not ignorant of what's going on with shit like this, man. So they have the summary. I'll end out Yahweh Ratazah. Yes, if black Americans collectively stopped celebrating U.S. holidays, it would decrease national retail and service revenues by hundreds of billions, alter marketing strategies and seasonal ad campaigns, reduce a cultural participation and influence around holidays, force many businesses to rethink how they target and sustain profit during key seasons. No, they would just go out of business, bro. Where they want, it's kind of asking, would you like me to estimate how much each major holiday, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc., would be affected individually if that happened? Well, yeah, we can, we don't have to go all off into that, because we know that all of them would be affected brutally, man. These Edomites don't go out and spend no money like that, man. You know what I'm saying? You got a few, we talking about just on a level of so-called black people. You know what I'm saying? You got a few rich, your Michael Jordans and your Oprahs and whoever. You know what I'm saying? They, if they buy a gift, it'll be more than likely a more expensive gift. I'm just talking about regular niggas that go and work regular jobs, that be going to spend. Jake going debt, man, for these holidays, man. But it just dawned on me. I was kind of, like I said, I made a quick move last night. I had to pray, of course, thinking like, oh yeah, because niggas be crazy on these holidays. But I ain't seen nobody out, man. And when not on no Halloween shit, that's for damn sure. When nobody walking through the neighborhood, kids with little buckets and shit. Nah, when no shit like that, man. I didn't see not one freaking person. But see, Jake the Lord is breaking everything down. Jake out here fussing about Christmas. My babies, what about my Thanksgiving coming up? They cutting food stamps. Man, shut the fuck up, man. You don't supposed to even be celebrating any of that shit. If you doofy motherfuckers had any sense, you just stop that shit and let these so-called white people fucking crawl, man. That's when they'll come really begging your ass, or that's when they'll really change up their tune. But they know that they got you. You doofy, you on your phone all goddamn day long. Every fucking commercial that pop up, you see a damn hamburger commercial, you getting in your damn car, or you door dashing that shit to your house. They understand that you've been duped, man. So I'm gonna end out there, man. Just a little pre-camp vent, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? But we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. So you, Jake, man, you gotta wake the fuck up, man. Straight up. But we can see the place falling, because it's happening anyway. It has no choice but to happen, because it's prophetic, man. We pray, continue on praying for the downfall of Esau's kingdom. I pray that every day, man. You should be praying in the Hebrew or just in English. It don't even make no difference on that end. Hey, but pray, if you can learn the prayers in Hebrew, it would be better to pray and chant this place down, man, because it's working. So with that, shalom.